In a world where comfort is an illusion and normal can vanish in seconds, only the prepared survive. Welcome to Prepper's Edge, the channel where we trade panic for plans, fear for fortitude, and chaos for calculated survival. Here we break down real-world prepping strategies, forgotten survival skills, and the gritty truths no one else talks about, because when disaster strikes, you won't rise to the occasion, you'll fall to your level of preparation. Let's make sure that level is unstoppable. The hours immediately following a disaster are often the most critical for survival. It's during this period that normal services collapse, electricity goes out, water stops running, shelves empty, and emergency responders may be overwhelmed or delayed. History shows it can take up to 3 days, 72 hours, for relief to reach certain areas, meaning you must be self-sufficient in the interim. Whether it's an EMP strike that knocks out the power grid, a natural disaster like a hurricane or earthquake, or civil unrest erupting in your city, the patterns of chaos are similar. Communications fail, supply chains halt, and panic spreads. The smart prepper treats this as a decisive window, a time to execute a well-laid plan, while everyone else is caught in confusion. This guide will walk you through exactly what to do and what not to do in those first 72 hours. We'll cover maintaining the right mindset, setting immediate priorities, water, security, shelter, information, deciding whether to bug in or bug out, establishing communications, and making the most of a 72-hour go-bag. By the end, you'll have practical checklists and action steps to ensure you respond like a seasoned prepper when disaster strikes. One of the biggest initial challenges in a disaster is psychological paralysis, the shock and disbelief that can cause you to freeze up or make poor decisions. A common mistake is falling into normalcy bias, denying the disaster is happening and hoping everything will fix itself. This costs precious time when you should be taking action. On the flip side, some people do the opposite and panic. They give in to fear and adrenaline, sometimes making rash moves or simply locking up in terror. As one emergency guide notes, panic can cause you to freeze, as hamstringing you from taking the bold steps often required to keep yourself or your loved ones safe. Smart preppers know that mental clarity is their first survival tool. The moment you register that a crisis is unfolding, take a deep breath and assess the situation. Remind yourself that you expected this and have a plan. This mindset shift from victim to problem solver is crucial. Preppers often drill scenarios precisely so that when the real thing hits, they can push aside panic and act decisively quickly. Say out loud to yourself or others what is happening. The power is out everywhere. This might be an EMP, or the city is flooding. This is real. This snaps you out of any denial. Don't wait for authorities to magically fix everything in the first hours. Assume you'll need to fend for yourself for a while. Curbing panic. Use simple grounding techniques. Take slow breaths, count to 10, recall your training or plan. Remind yourself that feeling afraid is normal, but you have actions to take now. As one prepper guide puts it, the key isn't just staying calm, it's staying strategically calm. Channel that nervous energy into checking on family, gathering supplies, and securing your area. More on these next. There will be time to process emotions later. For now, focus on tasks at hand. Reduce shock with preparedness. Simply having a plan and supplies reduces fear. Knowing that being prepared can reduce fear, anxiety, and losses, smart preppers draw confidence from the fact that they've thought ahead. This confidence can be contagious, helping calm your family or neighbors who may be in full panic. Bottom line, the first thing a smart prepper gets right is mindset. While others may freeze or waste the first critical hour in confusion, you'll take control of your mental state. A clear head in the first 72 hours is as important as any tool in your go-bag. In the vacuum of normalcy, rational thought becomes your most precious resource. So take a moment, get your bearings, and prepare to execute your survival plan. After getting your mind focused, prioritize your immediate survival needs. There's a classic survival rule of thumb. You can survive 3 minutes without air, 3 hours without shelter in extreme conditions, 3 days without water, and 3 weeks without food. In most disaster scenarios, water, shelter, and security will demand attention even before food. Here's what everyone else often gets wrong and how you will get it right. Water comes first. In any emergency, clean drinking water is absolutely vital, far more urgent than food in the first 72 hours. Yet many people overlook how quickly water can become unavailable. Municipal water may stop flowing if the power grid is down. One analysis noted that gravity-fed supply can last perhaps 24–48 hours, then taps sputter their last drops. The unprepared will be frantically searching store shelves or boiling questionable water, if they even can. Smart preppers, however, already have water stored, ideally at least 1 gallon per person per day for drinking and basic sanitation. If you're home, bugging in, immediately check your water stock and fill any spare containers, bottles, tubs, buckets, while the taps still have pressure. If you're caught without a large reserve, a prepared person will have a backup method to obtain safe water. For example, a portable water filter or purification tablets in your kit. I highly recommend keeping a water filter or purifier in your 72-hour kit. They are lightweight and very portable for the amount of clean water that they provide. A compact filter, like a Sawyer Mini or Life Straw, lets you turn found water from ponds, rain, water heaters, etc. into drinkable water on the move. Mistake to avoid: don't ration water too severely at the expense of health. Drink what you need, but use water wisely. For instance, use wet wipes for cleaning instead of precious water. Also, don't drink questionable water without purification. The last thing you need is a debilitating illness early on. Shelter and warmth. Having a roof over your head and protection from the elements is critical, especially if the disaster has damaged homes or if you're outdoors. A common error in mild weather events is to assume you don't need to worry about shelter until night falls or rain hits and you're suddenly exposed. Smart preppers secure an adequate shelter situation ASAP. If you are at home and it's safe, stay there and fortify. We'll cover bugging in more later. Check for structural damage. If your house is compromised, you may need to evacuate and improvise shelter. In bad weather, exposure can be deadly even in just hours, so use what you have. Tents, tarps, garbage bags, or Mylar emergency blankets to shield from rain and wind. Preppers often include a tarp or tube tent and an all-weather bivy blanket in their go bag for exactly this reason. If you're stuck outside or in a vehicle, prioritize finding or making a dry, insulated space. Dress for the occasion, put on sturdy clothes and layer up if it's cold. Hypothermia is a killer even above freezing temperatures. The average person might flee a disaster in pajamas or office clothes. The smart prepper quickly changes into durable, weather-appropriate attire. They often keep old boots, a jacket and gloves in their kit. Also remember air quality as part of shelter. For events like wildfires or industrial accidents, having N95 masks or even a bandana over your nose can protect your breathing shelter. In summary, assess your shelter needs in the first few hours. Don't assume you'll find somewhere later. Secure it now, before conditions worsen or options disappear. Security and safety. During major crises, law enforcement and medical help might be delayed or unable to respond, so personal security becomes a priority. Unfortunately, many people neglect this until it's too late. They leave doors unlocked, wander in unsafe areas, or ignore looming dangers, like a structurally unsound building or the threat of aftershocks, etc. Smart preppers do an immediate safety check of their environment. Is your location structurally sound? No gas leaks, no fire hazards. If indoors, smell for gas and shut off utilities if needed to prevent fires. Next, secure the premises, lock doors, close windows, and if necessary, barricade entry points. This isn't about paranoia, it's about establishing a safe zone where you control who enters. In scenarios of civil unrest or looting, this step is crucial. Preppers also maintain situational awareness. Keep an eye out for signs of danger like rising floodwaters, downed power lines, or suspicious individuals. While others might be too shaken to notice these, you'll be scanning and staying alert. If you have self-defense tools, pepper spray, firearm, etc., as legally appropriate, have them accessible, not buried in a closet or at the bottom of a bag. Often just the preparation and visible readiness to defend deters opportunists. Additionally, smart preppers understand the value of community security. If you have trustworthy neighbors, consider teaming up for a neighborhood watch. As one survival account noted, humans tend to form groups under stress: families, neighbors, church communities, and the wise understand this dynamic and work to strengthen, not resist it. In other words, coordinate with others when possible rather than going it completely alone. You can pool resources, watch each other's backs, and share information while still being cautious. Avoid the mistake of either total isolation or blind trust in strangers. Use sound judgment. The goal is to get through those 72 hours without injury or conflict, so make security preparations early. Addressing any injuries immediately. Many people in the chaos overlook injuries or someone else's until they become serious. Smart preppers will perform a quick self and family check right away for wounds or acute medical needs. Your first aid training, even basic, should kick in. Stop any serious bleeding, treat shock, and manage fractures or sprains. Having a well-stocked first aid kit in your 72-hour supplies is something most preppers do, while others might scramble to find a band-aid. Clean and bandage cuts before they get infected. You may not have professional care for a while. If anyone has known medical conditions, allergies, diabetes, etc., address those needs early. For example, locate that EpiPen or insulin from your kit. Mistake to avoid: neglecting minor issues that can worsen. A small cut can turn septic in unsanitary post-disaster conditions, or dehydration can exacerbate shock. Take care of health basics as part of your immediate priorities. Sanitation. In the first 72 hours, sanitation can quickly become an issue that impacts health and comfort. Water systems failing means toilets might not flush and garbage might pile up. While not as life-threatening as water or shelter, hygiene is important to prevent illness. Smart preppers plan for this. They include items like toilet paper, wet wipes, hand sanitizer, and trash bags in their kits. If the sewer or septic is not working, they know how to improvise a temporary toilet, lining a bucket or digging a cat hole if outdoors, and properly contain waste. Others may overlook this until living conditions become miserable. Handle sanitation discreetly and safely early on. It will make the 72 hours much more bearable and keep disease at bay. As soon as a disaster hits, ensure you have safe water, adequate shelter, and a secure environment. The unprepared might spend these hours thirsty, cold, and scared, but you will be drinking filtered water, resting in a safe shelter, and keeping watch on the situation. This quick triage of needs, water, shelter, security, first aid, sets the foundation for surviving the next few days. In a disaster, information is survival. Getting accurate updates and communicating with others, family, authorities, neighbors, can literally make the difference between life and death. Unfortunately, this is an area where many people are caught off guard. They either have no communication plan, leading to family members scattered and anxious, or they fall prey to rumors and misinformation in the chaos. Here's how to do it right. Gather reliable information. In the age of always-on connectivity, we take information for granted until the power is out, internet down, or cell networks overloaded. Many people don't have a backup way to get news when the grid is down. They're left in the dark, figuratively and literally. Smart preppers anticipate this by including an emergency radio in their kit. A battery-powered or hand-crank radio tuned to emergency frequencies, NOAA weather channels, AM, FM news, becomes your window to the world when other channels go silent. As soon as you've handled immediate needs, turn on that radio and listen for official updates. What areas are affected? Are there evacuation orders or boil water advisories? Where are relief centers being set up? This information guides your next moves. Preppers might also use two-way, walkie-talkie or ham radios to listen and communicate. When consuming info, beware of rumors. Disasters breed misinformation. As one expert advises, treat rumors like viruses, contain their spread, and verify through multiple sources. Stick to reputable channels, official emergency broadcasts, local news, or known community networks. Social media can sometimes provide fast on-the-ground reports, but it can also spread panic with false information, so double-check anything critical. Mistake to avoid: trusting any single source blindly or ignoring information altogether. You might hear something you don't like, for example, an order to evacuate your area, but acting on factual information is crucial. If authorities say boil water before drinking or take shelter immediately, those who ignore it do so at their peril. Smart preppers heed credible instructions. They know first responders and emergency managers have reasons for the directives they give. Emergency comms plan. How will you communicate with your loved ones if phones and internet are down? The average person has no plan. They'll repeatedly call family, draining phone batteries, get frustrated by failed calls, and worry endlessly. A smart prepper's family, by contrast, has a predetermined communication plan. This includes a meeting place if you're not together when disaster strikes. For example, if something happens during work/school, we all convene at home or at Aunt Lisa's house if home is inaccessible. An out-of-area contact, a relative or friend in another region who can act as a relay. Often in disasters, local calls won't go through, but long distance might, so having everyone check in with one person out of state can get messages around. Make sure each family member knows that contact's phone number by memory or on paper. Don't rely on retrieving it from a dead cell phone. If you have two-way radios or walkie-talkies, agree on a channel to use. For example, small FRS, GMRS radios are great for family communication within a mile or two. Far better than shouting or risking trips outside if you're licensed, or even if not in true life and death emergency. Ham radios, like the popular Baofeng handheld, can reach further and even connect to local emergency nets. In fact, a two-way radio is incredibly handy if the grid goes down. You can communicate with others and listen to public notifications and instructions. Preppers often choose models that cover FRS, GMRS, and NOA frequencies. One guide recommends the Baofeng dual-band radio for its configurability and range. Even if you're not a radio guru, just having a walkie-talkie to call to a neighbor or family member next door can be a lifesaver when phones fail. Coordinate with your group. Communication isn't just devices, it's also coordination and leadership. In the first 72 hours, smart preppers connect and coordinate with those around them. Check in on neighbors, especially the elderly or those with infants who might need extra help. Once you've secured your own situation, share critical information. The news says the whole county's without power, or emergency services are setting up a shelter at the high school. Pool skills and gear if appropriate. One neighbor has a generator, another has medical training, etc. This kind of tribal consolidation is natural, and savvy preppers use it to everyone's advantage rather than isolating themselves completely. On the flip side, be cautious about broadcasting that you have lots of supplies, which could make you a target. Coordination doesn't mean telling everyone you have a basement full of food, but working together on tasks like neighborhood watch or clearing debris benefits all. If you're with your family, make sure everyone understands the plan for the next hours. For example, we will stay here overnight. John and I will take turns keeping watch while the radio stays on for alerts. Assign responsibilities if needed. Someone minds the kids, someone handles cooking from the pantry, etc. Mistake to avoid each person running in a different direction with no coordination. It's easy for families to get separated or duplicate efforts. Instead, communicate and plan together, even if it's just a quick huddle. Here's the situation as we know it. Here's our plan. Let's execute and check back in 1 hour. This keeps everyone focused and reassured that someone, you, is leading with a plan. Backup power for comms. Since most modern communication devices need power, preppers account for this too. While others watch their phone batteries die and suddenly lose their primary source of information connection, you should have backup power options. Keep phones charged early on. Use your car charger or a power bank from your go bag. Solar chargers or hand crank chargers can top up small devices. Also, as a prepper, recognize that a smartphone alone won't last 72 hours of heavy use without charging. Print out important phone numbers on paper, family, doctors, insurance, emergency contacts. Don't rely on accessing your cloud contacts list. Have hard copy maps of your area in case GPS and online maps are inaccessible. In short, be ready to go low-tech. Whistles for signaling, written notes, even flyers on community boards can be ways to communicate when high-tech fails. Smart preppers are never totally cut off because they layered their communication methods. Staying informed and connected is how you avoid feeling helpless in a crisis. While everyone else might be glued to a dead phone or blindly hoping someone comes to tell them what to do, you'll actively gather intel and reach out through resilient channels. Knowledge of the situation will guide your next critical decision, whether to stay put or evacuate. One of the biggest questions in any disaster is, should I stay or should I go? Do you bug in, shelter in place, or bug out, evacuate to a safer location? This decision is often where inexperienced people make serious mistakes. A common error is assuming ahead of time that you'll always do one or the other without considering the specific circumstances. Some imagine they'll heroically run off to the woods at the first sign of trouble, fueled by doomsday movie fantasies, when in reality hunkering down at home is usually safer. Others cling stubbornly to home even when it's clearly becoming a death trap. Smart preppers approach this choice with a cool head and a flexible plan. Default to staying, bugging in, unless there's a compelling reason to leave. Expert preparedness guides emphasize that your home is almost always the best place to ride out an emergency. You have shelter, supplies, tools, and local knowledge there. Advantages you lose on the road. Don't just do something, sit there is a tongue-in-cheek prepper adage reminding people not to evacuate impulsively. In fact, data show that rushing out can put you in worse danger. Think traffic jams, getting stranded, exposing yourself to weather or violence. Thus, smart preppers plan to bug in by default and only bug out if specific conditions force their hand. As the prepared notes, you would only bug out if the merits of leaving overruled that stay-at-home default, which means you need to be ready for both possibilities. So how do you know if leaving is justified? Here are some good reasons to bug out versus bad ones. Imminent natural threat to your location. If something known and acute is coming for you, for example, a Category 5 hurricane forecasted to make a direct hit, a rapidly spreading wildfire, a chemical spill moving toward your neighborhood, you should evacuate if told to. Preppers pay attention to warnings. If officials issue an evacuation order for your area due to an approaching threat, a smart prepper doesn't ignore that. Remember, if they tell you to evacuate, do it immediately. To ignore them is peril. You might even leave before it becomes a mandatory order if you see the writing on the wall and can get out safely early, thus beating the crowds. Your home is unsafe or destroyed. After some disasters, your dwelling might simply be uninhabitable. A building collapse from an earthquake, a house fire, severe flood damage, etc. If shelter in place is no longer viable because the structure can't protect you, you'll have to bug out to somewhere that can. Smart preppers often identify in advance a secondary shelter option, friend's house, public shelter, nearby high ground, etc. for such scenarios. Violence or civil unrest. If civil unrest is happening within a block or two, and the mob is already looting or being violent, that's a valid reason to leave your home for a safer zone. While you might be prepared to defend your home if you're vastly outnumbered or targeted, evacuating temporarily, ideally to pre-identified safe haven, may be the wisest course. This might also apply if you personally are being targeted, for example, a home invasion threat or a personal security issue like domestic violence. Ordered to leave? No help coming. In extreme scenarios, authorities might direct everyone to evacuate. For example, a mandatory evacuation to a FEMA shelter because the area will be uninhabitable and no aid will reach you. If government broadcasts specifically told you to leave because no help was coming, then bugging out is the logical move. Smart preppers will have a battery radio to even receive that message when others might miss. If none of these compelling reasons exist, you're generally safer staying put. Your home provides numerous advantages. You have the right to be there. No one can kick you out of your own home. You have all your supplies there. You simply can't carry as much in a bag or car as you have stored at home. You know the terrain and neighbors, and you have the inherent castle legal protections if self-defense becomes an issue on your property. Moreover, staying put avoids the unknowns of the road. You're not getting stuck in 10-mile-long evacuation traffic or arriving to a packed shelter with thousands of others, unless home is truly untenable. As one guide bluntly puts it, if you can only handle one or the other, staying or leaving, you're not prepared. You need the ability and supplies to do both if needed. Plan and prepare for both. A smart prepper has contingency plans for either staying or going. That means stockpile supplies at home, water, food, medicine for at least 2 weeks ideally, and maintain a ready-to-go evacuation kit, the go bag, which we'll cover next, in case you must leave. Never assume you'll only ever do one. For instance, a novice mistake is saying, I plan to bug out, so I don't need to store water at home. What if roads are impassable or you're safer at home? Conversely, don't assume I'll always stay home and then find yourself scrambling when a chemical spill forces an evacuation. Have both plans in your playbook. If you stay bugging in, make the most of it. You've got home field advantage, use it, immediately deploy your stored resources, set up your generator outside in a ventilated area if you have one, or your propane camp stove to cook if the power's out. Keep a low profile. While you want to help neighbors, you don't want to advertise to looters that your house has power, light, or lots of food. Use blackout curtains or keep lights dim at night. Collect rainwater, if safe, using barrels or tubs. Augment your supply. Monitor the radio continuously for updates about services being restored or new dangers. Maintain security, reinforce entry points, and possibly create a safe room inside in case you need to shelter from intruders or severe weather. Ration supplies wisely. You don't know if 72 hours might stretch longer. Smart preppers actually practice living without grid power or city water from time to time. So bugging in isn't a shock to them. For others, it can be disorienting. Also, stay put means exactly that. Unless you must, don't waste energy wandering around outside or driving aimlessly. Stay in communication as able, but stay in your safe zone. If you go bugging out, execute swiftly and smartly. Ideally, you leave early before roads clog. That's why having a trigger in your plan is useful. For example, if hurricane is forecast Cat 4 or higher and within 48 hours of landfall, we evacuate. Or if wildfire jumps the river, we evacuate. When the trigger is hit, you don't hesitate. Grab your go bags, load the family and pets into the vehicle, or start walking if that's the only option, and head to your predetermined destination. A common mistake during evacuations is not having a specific place to go. People just hit the road and then end up in their car or a random shelter. Smart preppers arrange ahead of time a bug-out location, a relative's house in a safer area, a campground, even a hotel in a neighboring town, if you can reserve one, en route. This way you have a target to navigate to. Use multiple routes. Know at least 2 ways out of your area in case one is jammed or blocked. Have paper maps. GPS might fail or send you into traffic. Also, bring all the essentials. Your go bag is primary, but if you have extra room, take additional food, water, important documents, irreplaceable keepsakes within reason, and gear that could sustain you longer. Ensure your vehicle is fueled up. Preppers keep their gas tank at least half full at all times so they're not caught empty. If you don't have a vehicle and must evacuate on foot, plan for that too. A cart or wagon to carry extra items, bicycles as an alternative, etc. Safety on the road is key. Avoid known high-crime areas and don't broadcast that you're a well-supplied evacuee. Blend in. Many evacuees make the mistake of leaving all their supplies behind because they never prepared a portable kit. They become refugees dependent on charity. You won't, because you'll have your survival on your back or in your car. Finally, when you reach safety, check in with someone so people know you're okay, and then rest. Those first 72 hours are exhausting. Flexibility. Perhaps the most important aspect of the stay or go decision is to stay flexible and aware. Reassess conditions continuously. You might start by bugging in and then decide to bug out on day 2 if things deteriorate, or vice versa. That's okay. A smart prepper adapts to reality rather than rigidly sticking to plan A. By having well thought out plans for both scenarios, you can pivot as needed with confidence. A well-stocked 72-hour emergency kit, go bag, packed in a sturdy backpack. Notice the first aid kit, water, flashlight, batteries, duct tape, and emergency blanket. All essential supplies to sustain you for the crucial first 3 days. When disaster strikes, there's often no time to gather supplies. You either have them ready or you go without. This is why smart preppers always keep a 72-hour go bag, also known as a 72-hour kit, bug-out bag, or perk, prepared. It's a portable kit filled with the essential gear and provisions to survive at least 3 days away from home. Everyone else might be scrambling through their house in the dark, trying to remember where they put the flashlight, but you will simply grab your backpack and go. Building a functional 72-hour kit. Your go bag should cover all basic survival categories: water, food, shelter, clothing, first aid, tools, lighting, communication, and personal necessities. Pack items that are portable, multi-use, and don't require electricity other than what you can supply. Here's a breakdown of critical contents for a 72-hour kit with some recommended items. Water and filtration. Include at least 3 liters of water per person, roughly 1 gallon, to start with. Water is heavy, 8.34 pounds per gallon, so you can't carry all you might need, but have some endurable containers. Wide-mouth bottles are best for easy filling, cleaning. More importantly, include a water filter or purifier. A small personal water filter, for example Sawyer Mini or Life Straw, lets you safely drink from streams or ponds and can provide dozens of gallons of clean water on the move. This single item addresses your most pressing survival need. Also pack water purification tablets as a backup. They're tiny and lightweight. Mistake to avoid: only carrying water without a way to get more. In 72 plus hours, you'll likely need to resupply from found sources. Smart preppers also stash a metal cup or pot in the kit so they can boil water if needed, and it doubles for cooking. Food, pack non-perishable, high-energy foods that require little or no cooking. Good options include energy bars, trail mix, jerky, dried fruit, peanut butter, and perhaps some MREs or freeze-dried meals, if you have a way to boil water to rehydrate them. Aim for at least 2,000 calories per day per person for 3 days. Consider including some comfort items, chocolate, instant coffee, tea to keep morale up. Mistake to avoid: packing bulky or very heavy foods. Canned goods, while durable, add weight fast. A few might be okay, but don't overload on cans. Also avoid foods that are prone to spoilage or that will make you excessively thirsty. Rotate the food periodically, every 6-12 months, to keep it fresh. Smart preppers will actually taste test and use their emergency food ahead of time, so there are no unpleasant surprises when it's go time. Clothing and shelter. Include a change of clothes appropriate for the season for each person. Focus on sturdy, practical garments: a long-sleeve shirt, durable pants, extra socks crucial, a warm fleece or jacket, and undergarments. If in a cold climate, pack gloves and a wool hat. If in a hot climate, a wide-brim hat for sun. Also pack a poncho or rain jacket. Staying dry is vital, and an emergency blanket or bivvy for warmth. For shelter, a compact tarp and some paracord can be rigged into a makeshift tent. Tarps are lightweight and versatile. Many go bags include a tube tent or a bivouac sack, something that provides immediate shelter if you're caught outdoors. Mistake to avoid: forgetting about footwear. If you're not already wearing good shoes when you evacuate, have an old pair of broken-in sneakers or boots tied to your go bag. Nothing will slow you down like blisters from dress shoes or heels during an evacuation. First aid kit. Your bag should contain a personal first aid kit tailored to both trauma and everyday needs. At minimum, bandages of various sizes, gauze, adhesive tape, antiseptic wipes, antibiotic ointment, pain relievers, Tylenol, ibuprofen, any critical personal medications with at least a 7-day supply, tweezers, and gloves. Smart preppers also add trauma supplies: a tourniquet, hemostatic bleeding control gauze, for example quick clot, a pressure bandage, Israeli bandage, and chest seals for serious wounds. While these are advanced items, they can save a life in major injury scenarios. Include any needed items for specific conditions in your family: an inhaler for asthma, EpiPen for allergies, insulin and syringes for diabetes, etc., and keep them insulated, protected. Mistake to avoid: not knowing how to use your first aid items. Take a basic first aid course, or at least familiarize yourself with these tools before you need them. Also, check the kit every few months. Medications expire, and something like heat in a car trunk can degrade supplies faster. Tools and gear. A selection of multi-purpose tools will greatly expand your capabilities. Top of the list is a good multi-tool, like a Leatherman Wave, which packs pliers, knife, screwdrivers, etc. in one. Next, a sturdy fixed-blade knife, such as a K-bar or Mora knife for tasks like cutting wood, preparing food, or self-defense. Include a fire-starting kit, waterproof matches, a lighter, and a ferrocerium rod for backup. Being able to make fire means warmth, boiled water, and signaling. Pack a few meters of duct tape, a small roll, or wrap some around a water bottle. It's invaluable for repairs, splints, even makeshift shoes. 550 paracord, at least 25-50 feet, is another must-have. It can help rig shelters, repair gear, or tie things. A small folding saw or wire saw can help cut branches for shelter or firewood. If space allows, a lightweight camp shovel or entrenching tool can be handy, digging a latrine, fire pit, or clearing debris. Don't forget utensils and cookware, at least a metal cup or mess kit for cooking/eating. Mistake to avoid: packing tools you've never practiced with. For instance, if you include a fancy magnesium fire starter but have never actually made a fire with it, you might be in trouble when wet and shivering. Test your gear in safe conditions so you're competent under pressure. Light and power. When the lights go out, you'll need your own. Pack at least 2 light sources, a flashlight and a headlamp with extra batteries for each, or use rechargeable ones with a solar charger. Headlamps are great because they free your hands. LED lights are preferred for long battery life. Include some chemical light sticks, glow sticks, as non-battery backup light. They're cheap and last 8-12 hours each, good for ambient light at night or signaling. A small hand crank or solar charger can be gold for recharging a phone, radio, or rechargeable batteries. Some emergency radios come with built-in flashlights and USB chargers. These multifunction devices are excellent. Mistake to avoid: relying on your smartphone flashlight as the only light. It drains the phone battery fast and isn't as robust as a tactical flashlight. Always have dedicated lights. Communication. As discussed in the prior section, have a battery-powered or hand-crank radio in your kit to receive news. Many preppers choose models that also support two-way communication. For example, ham handheld. At least include a basic AM/FM radio, if nothing else, with spare batteries. If you have family members splitting up, give each a walkie-talkie from the set so you can stay in touch, and practice a bit so you know the range and channels. Keep a list of important frequencies, local emergency, family contact channel, and phone numbers in a waterproof pouch. Mistake to avoid: assuming your cell phone will work. Plan as if it won't. You won't be disappointed. Pack a written card with phone numbers and addresses. That way, if you find a landline or borrow a phone, you can still call loved ones. Cash and documents. In an emergency, ATMs and credit card machines may not work. Cash is king in the first 72 hours. Keep a stash of small bills, for example $1, $5, $10s, perhaps a couple of $20s, in a hidden section of your go bag. A few $100s is ideal, if possible, as it can buy gas, food, or a night in a motel when cards fail. Quarters or change can be useful for payphones. Yes, those rare payphones might still function when cell networks don't. Also, prepare a waterproof envelope with photocopies of important documents. Driver's licenses, passports, insurance policies, medical prescriptions, birth certificates, etc. You might need to prove identity or fill out relief paperwork, and having copies is much easier than carrying originals, which could get lost. Include a list of emergency contacts and any medical info. Allergies, blood type, for your family. Mistake to avoid: bringing only credit cards and assuming you can just hit the ATM. You'll likely find long lines or empty machines if power is even on. Personal items and sanitation. Don't forget the little things that keep you comfortable and healthy. Pack travel-sized toiletries, toothbrush, toothpaste, soap or body wipes, toilet paper, flatten a roll or take the center out to save space, hand sanitizer, feminine hygiene products if needed, a comb, etc. Include a few large garbage bags. They are extremely useful. Rain poncho, ground cover, makeshift toilet, trash cleanup. A small bottle of sunscreen and bug repellent can prevent misery if you're outdoors. Add any unique needs: eyeglasses or contact solution, hearing aid batteries, etc. For families with babies, have diapers, wipes, formula or baby food in the kit. For pets, have some of their food, a leash and collapsible water bowl packed. Also, consider a bit of entertainment: a deck of cards, a paperback book, or a small toy for kids, something to maintain morale during waiting periods. Mistake to avoid: packing the bag so full of gear that you forget personal comfort items. Morale can degrade quickly in a crisis, and a little bit of normalcy, like brushing your teeth or a child hugging their favorite small teddy bear, can go a long way to keep everyone calm. Keep your go bag accessible and up to date. All this preparation means little if your bag is buried in the attic or full of expired goods. Store it someplace you can grab instantly. Front hall closet, under your bed, in your car trunk, if temperature-sensitive items are minimal or rotated frequently. If you live in a multi-story building, consider keeping it by the door or even one in your vehicle in case you can't get back inside. Review the contents every 6 months. A smart prepper will actually test their 72-hour kit by doing a short camping trip or at least a dry run at home, living off only the bag's contents for 3 days. This reveals any missing items or gear failures before a real emergency. For example, you'll find out if your old batteries are dead or if you packed enough food, and you can adjust accordingly. By having this go bag ready, you've essentially preempted a host of first 72-hour mistakes. While others are left with flashlights that don't work and missing meds, you'll have what you need in one durable backpack. The motto here is, prepare now so you're not desperate later. And remember, building a go bag isn't a one-and-done deal. Maintain it as a living piece of your preparedness. No matter the disaster scenario, smart preppers follow a proven sequence of actions in those critical first 3 days. Think of it as an emergency playbook. When you're rattled and everyone else is panicking, you can follow these steps to stay 2 steps ahead. Stay prepared and stay focused. Communicate and account for loved ones. Account for everyone in your household. Get family or group members together at your safe spot. If someone's missing and it's safe, do a quick search in your home. Use your pre-established communication plan. Send a text or call your out-of-area contact to report your status. Texts often go through when calls won't. If cell service is out, try a landline or send a radio message, FRS, GMRS or ham to your group. Communication is two-way. Listen for any messages or distress calls from family, neighbors as well. Secure your location if bugging in. If you're staying put, immediately secure your shelter. Lock doors and windows. Put up plywood or shutters if a storm is incoming. Post a visible sign if needed, like occupied OK on the front door, to deter random intruders and inform rescuers that you're there and not in need of immediate help. Gather everyone into a safe area of the house if certain rooms are damaged. Shut off utilities if instructed. For example, turn off electricity if wires are sparking or water if pipes burst. Basically, fortify your home base. You want it to remain a sanctuary through the chaos. Grab your go bags if evacuating. If the situation calls for evacuation or if you decide to preemptively bug out, grab your go bag and supplies now. Don't wait until later, you might not get another chance. Ensure each person has their bag and is dressed appropriately. Put on those sturdy shoes and jackets now. Secure pets in carriers or on leashes with their supplies. Leave a note if possible, indicating where you're headed and who is with you in case responders or other family come looking. Then get moving according to your evacuation plan and don't delay. Establish water and food supply. After immediate safety, water is your next priority. If you're at home and water is still running, fill bathtubs, sinks and pitchers right away. That might be your last tap water for a while. If water is already out, look to your stored supply or safe sources. Melted ice from the freezer, water heater tank, etc. Set out water filters or purification methods for upcoming use. For food, check what's in your pantry or go bag and plan simple meals for the next 72 hours. Eat perishable foods first from fridge freezer before they spoil, then move on to shelf-stable items. But ration sensibly. Don't have a feast on day one. Avoid cooking strong-smelling foods openly if security is a concern. You don't want to attract hungry strangers. If power is out, remember to keep the fridge freezer closed to prolong the cold. Get updates. Use your radio. Turn on that emergency radio and find a station broadcasting news or official information. Continue to monitor regularly, top of each hour, for example. This will inform you of any new dangers, aftershocks, weather changes, relief center locations, or evacuation orders. It also helps you feel less alone and anxious. You know what's going on beyond your immediate sight. Manage hygiene and sanitation. Set up a toilet solution if plumbing is down. Line the bowl or a bucket with a heavy-duty garbage bag or dig a latrine if outdoors. Designate a corner for waste away from living areas. Use your hand sanitizer or soap and water if available, after handling waste or before eating. Make sure any injuries are kept clean to prevent infection. These little steps prevent a host of health problems within 72 hours. Maintain security vigilance. Whether you stay or go, remain vigilant about security. Establish a watch rotation if you have multiple capable people. Someone stays awake or alert, especially overnight, to listen for strange noises or approaching people. If alone, set modest booby traps or noisemakers, like placing a noisy tin can on a door handle, etc., to alert you of intruders so you can rest. Keep a deterrent handy, even a stout stick or wasp spray can if you don't have other means. Don't advertise your supplies. Discretion is your friend. If traveling, stick to populated, well-lit areas if possible, but avoid crowds that could turn unruly, like ransacked supermarkets. Take care of your tribe, family, neighbors. Check in periodically with everyone. Keep children calm by involving them in simple tasks. Help mummy count our food packets, or let's play a game quietly. For neighbors, if you can assist without jeopardizing your safety, do so. Community resilience helps everyone. Combine resources if appropriate. Maybe you have a water filter and they have a working grill. Together you purify water and cook food for both families. Be a leader. Often, people will be looking for guidance. If you're prepared, you might naturally take on a leadership role in your immediate community, even if it's just organizing a shared meal or relaying radio info. Adapt and improvise. As hours turn into day 2 and 3, you may face new problems. Stay flexible and solve problems creatively. Roof started leaking, use that tarp from your kit to patch it. Running low on water, collect rain or dew with a sheet of plastic. Need to charge a phone, maybe a car battery, and an inverter can help if you planned for that. Preppers pride themselves on adaptability. Use your knowledge and what's at hand. Plan beyond 72 hours if needed. Use this window to plan for what's next. If it looks like broad help isn't coming soon, you may need to ration more strictly or relocate. Conversely, if you know relief is en route after 72 hours, you just need to hang on. Review and update your plan each day with the latest info. Maybe on day 3 you decide it's time to bug out after all, so you prepare the group to move at first light on day 4. Or maybe conditions improve and you can start cleanup. Always be thinking one step ahead. Smart preppers never get complacent. Finally, throughout the 72 hours, keep your morale up. Survival isn't just a physical game, it's mental. Celebrate small victories. We got through the first night and we have plenty of water. Keep hope alive by knowing you've done everything you can to stay safe. This positive, proactive attitude is something everyone else often lacks, but you as a prepared individual will embody. Remember, disasters are tough, but so are you, especially now that you've equipped yourself with knowledge and a plan. The first 72 hours of any crisis are daunting, but they don't have to be disastrous for you. By thinking and acting like a smart prepper, staying calm, prioritizing needs, avoiding common pitfalls, and executing a well-prepared plan, you dramatically increase your chances of not just surviving, but riding out the emergency with confidence. While others learn the hard way what they should have done, you'll be doing it. Use this guide to build your own customized plan, assemble and practice with your 72-hour kit, and educate your family or group. Disasters will continue to happen, often when least expected, but with the right preparation, the next time the world flips upside down, you won't be caught off guard. You'll handle the first 72 hours like a pro and help those around you do the same. Stay safe, stay prepared, and remember, chance favors the prepared mind. You've just taken another step toward being ready when others won't be. If you found this guide valuable, smash that like button, subscribe for more hardcore survival knowledge, and join our growing tribe of preppers around the world. Hit follow, stay sharp, and remember, at Prepper's Edge, we don't predict the storm, we prepare to survive it. See you in the next one.